experience. Back talking WGC Match play. We're going to talk about it from both a betting and DraftKings perspective, try to mesh it all into one because we don't get a lot of turnaround time on this. It starts on Wednesday, not Thursday, so prepare yourself. And DraftKings is doing match play for the first time ever, so that's pretty interesting. We're going to go over each of the groupings, talk about the odds, talk about who has the best path to get there. Maybe, just maybe, at the end we'll talk about that tournament going on in Dominican Republic. I haven't done any research for it, but it's not going to stop me from making a pick. How about you, Geoff Fienberg?
Won't stop me. I've read a couple previews.
Patrick Rogers?
I've seen Patrick Rogers' name pop up quite a bit. I've even seen Harris English's name pop up quite a bit.
Okay, maybe we won't talk too long about that one then. We'll just pick Tony Romo and move on.
A lot of disrespect. Oh, yeah, Romo being talked up a bit too, the narrative there.
All right, so in terms of how this works for DraftKings, you can go to DraftKings.com and find out the entire scoring system. Basically, there's no birdie bonus. If someone you play withdraws, you get a huge bonus, so you might want to pick against the guys like, let's say Hideki starts out 0-2. He's like, oh, my wrist, I'm not playing anymore. There's going to be some of that.
Always.
So it's a really weird week. I don't normally like the match play in terms of, like, I usually pick like 3 guys to bet and move on my way. I don't really go hard on it. But you have had a lot of success betting the match play over the years.
It's probably been my most successful tournament. And I joked with you, but I'm not joking. If I can't find a way to make something happen this week, I don't know, might be doomed, Pat.
Yeah, we're saving it all for the Masters.
That'd be special. But I know match, it's a fun event. It's different than what normally happens. I would agree with a lot of guys that in the new schedule, when the PGA Championship gets moved, I believe it'll be an even better event because I believe the guys that aren't here will be here. A lot of guys don't come. They see this event as just really bad Masters prep.
Yeah, it takes you right out of your... For like someone like Justin Rose, he takes him really out of his rhythm.
Yeah, really out, and you get it. And he also bitched about the pods. He goes, you signed up for match play? Like, let's play match play. Like, this whole, like, guys don't want to go home after a day, that's BS. Don't play match play. This, like, new reinvention of it.
I like the pods.
I'd rather just get her going. I'd rather just go.
Maybe, but like I always point to this tournament as being the least watchable of any over the course of the year. I know there are some like bad field tournaments, but outside of the first, like outside of the pods when everyone's on the course and you can watch it, it gets depreciating returns the farther you go into the weekend.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to get 2 guys playing each other and that's all you see. And like, listen, I enjoy a nice head-to-head when you're coming down the stretch, like Rose and Sergio last year at the Masters. Like, hey, you got 4 holes to go. You're like the last 2 guys who can do anything here. We're going to show, 5 minutes to line up each shot. But like for the match play, it's like, all right,
I get it. And even in that like major championship head-to-head moment where it's 2 guys left and all those holes still to go, you still get to see your elite. They'll show guys like close out.
Yeah, or Cooch hits a hole in one.
Yeah, Cooch just came T8, and what do you know? Here's the thing. I've never experienced it that way because I've always seemed to have had heater tickets into the finals where I'm just like into the match.
Sure. And for me, from like watching it, it might be because like last year with Rose, like I had big money on Rose to win the Masters. And I was like, when am I going to hedge out all this money onto Sergio? And it's also, if I didn't, it's also for the Masters. So there's a lot at stake here. Like I really don't care.
Hold on though. How did we get to comparing match play to the Masters?
I'm just saying that like when you watch
other than the setup at bad Masters prep.
when you watch the one-on-one at the end of the final day of the Masters, the 4th round of the Masters, and you have 2 guys in the final group going head-to-head, you're watching them literally for 5 minutes line up putts and stuff like that. It's not super interesting. But there's a lot of drama because it's the Masters.
Okay,
so it makes it good.
Yes.
At the match play, it's like, oh, who's going to win this WGC?
Yeah, you lost me for a moment. You're right. And in the last few finals, they have not been entertaining.
No.
Well, no. Last year, like, Rahm was getting killed, and he came back and made it interesting. And then that 18th hole kind of became really entertaining because he was down 4 and then made it to 1. But the year previous, Day just wiped Louis away pretty quick. Rory wiped Woodland away pretty quick. I don't think we've had a good final since Dubuisson's cactus saves versus Jason Day over at Dove Mountain.
Listen, I like this course.
Dove Mountain.
I like Austin Country Club,
Yeah.
but I love Dove Mountain. It was great. So, anyway, let's talk about last week just a little bit. I was away, as people may know. That's why we're doing this on a Tuesday, not a Monday. Plus, we had to wait for the groupings to be out. Why don't they put them out on Sunday night? Why wait till Monday night if it's going to start on Wednesday?
they're not thinking about us. Like they have no concept of it would maybe help. I don't think they see it like we see it.
That's probably fair.
Even
as they should.
Yeah, no, I get it. You know, and like the people that watch the golf commercials for those fancy watches and those nice cars, they don't really care either.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm saying the people that golf is still selling itself.
Yeah, see, if you're the type of person who's going to go buy an Alfa Romero, you probably don't care if the pods come out on Monday or Sunday night.
Yeah, and I was going to say a watch, but I'll just mistake the name.
So the Arnold Palmer Invitational, I went back and I put out the key stats for the API. And I look back at it, it had par 5 scoring as a major one, which of course it was going to be. But I always do it from fantasynational.com. Become a member, fantasynational.com right now, because the Masters is coming. You want to win some bucks.
Let's see the Virgin winners.
Yeah.
Like guys that I just signed up.
Just signed up.
Great.
Won 10 grand.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just paid for your lifetime. Yeah.
A lot of winners this week, actually. I had a good week. I didn't hit the winner, but I had DeChambeau and Horsfield as top 20s. That was 5 and 8 to 1. I came out on top of the first round leader bets because Bryson got inside the top 5, paid that each way back. So a mini profitable week for me, which is much better than the previous 3 weeks. So that's always a bonus. But if you looked at par 5 scoring from the past 100 rounds, who withdrew? Perez withdrew before the tournament started. So he was on that list when I had put it out. So take him off. 19 of 19 cuts made, including Rory as number 1. So that was the thing to look at. We'll store that away for next year.
Fast greens. I see it as a very Augusta comp. And, before the week, kind of not joke, because me and you were never really down on Rory, even though he was playing bad. We sort of were waiting for the big victory.
When does Rory go crazy and start dropping putts?
But fast greens, people on the inside like to compare Bay Hill greens to Augusta greens in terms of speed. So that's a good sign. And Rory, even though he played horribly the week before, did say to the media, if the Masters started tomorrow, I'm ready. And I made that comment on last week's show.
And we kind of laughed.
Joked at it, come on, you can't be serious. But oh baby. It was nice to see Rory win, and it kind of just took me out of my, I went out for dinner at about 5 o'clock Saturday. Rick, that's what you do. Go to, when you have a 22-month-old. 5 o'clock dinners. You don't know anything of that sort.
I don't. I was at a beach club in Playa del Carmen.
Nonetheless, Ricky gets to 11 under. And I just say to my wife, I just want him to come home. I'll give anything if he can come home clean. And she's like, what does that mean? And I didn't even care to explain. I just need Ricky to get home clean. He double bogeys out Saturday, takes him out of it.
And then bogeys won.
And, sometimes that's a good thing. I joke. But it's not Rory he just crushed it. There was no debating who else should have won that. You even saw it in Stenson and DeChambeau.
DeChambeau gave it a run.
Gave it a run. I lost something that really caught me up. We know how nice these new young generation of players are, but sometimes it bothers me, how nice they are. It even caught Stenson off guard, I swear to God. First hole, DeChambeau rolls in a 20-foot birdie, gets the day going, ties right there. Stenson answers it back. As they're walking off the green, hole 1, these two guys tied for the lead, still 2 away from everyone else. DeChambeau gives Stenson like a fist bump. Stenson receives it. He's like, huh? It
rattled him.
Yeah, not rattled him, but and then you see these old interviews with Tiger and quotes Tiger's or ESPN just did this whole thing calling him the generational athlete or the greatest athlete of the last 20 years. And in the interview, Tiger is pretty much they're like, why are you so good? He's like, I just wanted to beat everybody. It's it can't be that simple. Tiger's like, no, it really kind of was that simple. It got into competition and I wanted we make the jokes of him wanting their souls, he wanted their souls. I don't see that with these young players. You even see Spieth, these guys hit putts. There's props off the first green. That's something that bothers me a lot about today's game. But I don't know. We got a lot to talk about.
And we do. I don't want to spend too much time on
Tiger
this.
played great, though.
Tiger did play great.
3 straight T15s. He moved to the Masters solo favorite after the front 9 on Thursday. Did you know that?
I saw Spieth is now down to 14 to 1. Do you think we can get a Spieth 20 to 1 number at Augusta?
It's pretty
I want to see him get destroyed.
It's getting pretty comical, and his number to win this tournament jumped about 3 points after his grouping.
He has a tough group. That's probably the hardest group. It might not be the hardest, but there's
I got a different opinion.
Well, Patrick Reed's in it. There's 2 Masters champs in it. It's not bad. Anyway, let's get into the match play. So for key stats that I'm looking for, I kept it very simple because I don't plan on playing much in terms of betting, even on DraftKings. I think the strategy for betting and DraftKings should be the same, though. Just take the people that you think are going to the finals. I know it's very rudimentary, but like just because someone is super underpriced at like 6,700 or something like that, if you think they have no chance of going through, or they're typically a great birdie maker, that doesn't matter. The more matches you play this week, the better chance you're going to have to win. Like, you're going to have to do a lot of lineups by hand just because you need to look at the brackets and be like, oh, I don't want to have these 2 guys. I don't want to have all 4 of my guys potentially playing each other right here. I want to have the chance to get all 4 people to the finals because that's what it's going to take to win.
Someone's going to pull that lineup.
Yeah, someone's going to have that lineup, so you might as well put yourself into the right spot to
try to
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, don't take 2 people. Like, just don't take 2 people from the same pods. That doesn't make any sense.
That's pretty elementary.
It is, but you might not think about
Like,
it.
oh, if I just get one guy through, I'm in a good shape there. I don't think you can afford to think you can sacrifice a lamb anywhere in DraftKings.
No, you'll need to, if you want to.
As a bettor, there's some pods where I'm thinking about maybe playing 2 guys in.
Well, I mean, that becomes the case of you're getting big numbers on 2 guys in the same pod that once they get out of the pod that they're going to be horribly slashed. So if you take a 40 and an 80 now, the numbers on those guys are 20 when it comes around to the weekend, so you're like,
And I hypothetically like who they might play in that Sweet 16.
And then their odds will be cut even more.
Yes.
So, sure.
No, I completely agree with that DraftKings strategy. You got to go balls to the wall. You can't, like, do this lollygag and try to get by. You've got to try to get the Final 4, or you're not winning, because there will be a handful of people that pull it.
And again, I know that sounds really obvious, but this is the first time DraftKings has had match play, so people might not think about that kind of thing.
And you just get yourself caught into filling your lineup with your normal thought patterns.
Yeah, you could say something like, for example, Group 1 and Group 16 play each other in the second round. You're like, oh, I'll take Dustin. Oh, and I really like Ross Fisher as a sleeper. Well, if Ross Fisher gets out of his group, he has to play DJ in the next round. You kind of have to... And I know the projection won't work out that way because we try to make projections every week and they just turn out to be wrong.
Yeah.
But you need to plan ahead just a little bit when it comes to it. Give yourself the maximum amount of upside in your lineup because the big $5, it's a really good tournament. I wish I had it's a $5 150 entry max tournament. I believe it's 400,000 like total prize pool. It's a really good sized tournament.
Good for them.
I like the $5.
Good for them.
Okay, let's get into this. Match play. Key stats that I am looking for the week. Like I said, I'm going to keep it very, very easy when it comes to it. Strokes gained off the tee, birdie or better percentage, strokes gained ball striking, which combines off the tee and approach, but I'm giving a heavier lean to off the tee this week. And I'm just looking at guys that typically play well at Pete Dye courses. Because this is a Pete Dye course at Austin Country Club. So throughout the last 2 years, it seems like the guys, listen, when you have Dave versus Louie in a final, and you have Rom versus DJ in a final, you have guys that are pretty good off the tee.
Very accurate.
Now, you do have your Matt Kuchars and your Kevin Kisners and your Zach Johnsons, who I believe has made it to the round of 8 both years. That's just are really good at Pete Dye courses. And the course isn't super long. It's a par 71. It's under 7,200 yards, and there's a lot of really short par 4s. You get hot with your wedges, but the par 5s are really long, and that can be a huge differentiator. Like, those are, I don't want to say they're guaranteed holes for Rom and DJ and guys that can just really crush it off the tee, but it really goes a long way in helping.
Yeah, they've got a greenside chip line too while someone's coming in with a wedge.
Yeah, well, Zach Johnson's hitting it from 91 out, trying to stick it to 5 feet.
And he does.
And listen, he won the Masters doing that.
But I see your point. And from remembering this course the last few years, it is a pretty exciting match play course. Those short par 4s you mentioned, there's a lot of risk reward that comes into play. It's just, it's match play. You can play fantastic and lose. You can play awful and win. And it's just something to keep an eye on. And I'll say this. No one, since they've gone to the pod format, has won the tournament without sweeping their pod. That's for what it's worth.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, but you also mentioned, look at who's won this tournament.
Yeah, the number one player. Day 1 is the number 1 player in the world. DJ 1 is the number 1 player.
And before that, it was Rory.
And that was a different course, though.
But we're just like these guys, and then before that, it was Day again.
At Dove Mountain?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it just seems like these really elite players seem to somehow thrive here, or the format really works for them.
I'm going to add par 5 scoring to my model here. See if it churns out anything different. It probably just reinforces the guys that it likes to begin with.
But how do you win? But I mean, here's the thing, though, Pat. You win and lose all match play with that putter.
Yeah, but look at the guys that have won. Like, I know.
I get you right. Wow. Yeah, good point. Even the final, I mean.
Just go back and look at the people that have been in the finals. Like, they're generally really good ball strikers.
Yeah, Lou's not a great putter. Dustin was, Dustin last year was in his, like, insane stretch
in the year
of
that Day won.
unconscious golf.
But, I mean, you just give yourself greens and regular. Like, the key stats I punched in my model this week for full disclosure. Strokes gained off the tee, birdies are better gain, strokes gained, ball striking, par 5 scoring, and greens and regulation gain. Like, very rudimentary stats. Give yourself birdie putts, and you're good. And don't be afraid to take, like, the blow-up hole guy. Because it only counts as one loss.
Well,
it doesn't count as a 7.
As the jokes over the years
Ricky really shouldn't have withdrawn.
Or before Phil popped for his win, I would always make those Phil match play jokes because that triple bogey that cost him all those tournaments where he'd have all those birdies doesn't really come back and haunt you here. You don't need to worry about blow-up guys at all. And this is also the type of tournament, Pat, where, armchair psychologist likes to play, intestinal fortitude. And the word bulldog gets mentioned a lot. There's one, yeah.
Too bad Grant McDowell's not in this field, then.
He was a bulldog, but there's a new English bulldog. Graham's not English. Well, he's Irish, yeah, I know.
Northern Irish.
No, Rory's, okay, sorry.
They're both Northern Irish. All right. Pod 1. Dustin Johnson is in Pod 1. He is the number 1 overall seed. Kevin Kisner is in this group. He is the 32 seed. Adam Hadwin is the 38 seed. And Bernd Wiesberger is the 52 seed. When it comes down to it, to win this group, Dustin is even money. Hadwin is plus 320. Kisner is 380. Bernd Wiesberger is plus 480. Dustin is the most expensive player on DraftKings. He is $11,800, and he is 8-1 to win this. I have a feeling that we're both going to be picking Dustin Johnson to come out of this group.
Yeah.
When I look at the model over the past 24 rounds, guess who comes out number 1? Dustin Johnson.
It's a lot of super elites have wins leading into the Masters. I guess you can count his TOC.
TOC win.
Yeah, so he would be one. I don't know, you kind of asterisks the TOC, but nonetheless, he's really been strong other than, the 4th round at Pebble and a bad start at Genesis. You'd think his trophy case would be a bit different early this year. CJ versus everybody. The only hope in hell is like the putter from God for Hadwin.
Hadwin's the Kisner
can do it.
Kisner, listen.
He could hole out or something.
No, he has a great Pete Dye track record. Like, remember he lost in the playoff at the Players that year. He lost in the playoff at Heritage one year. I just think this is just too much to overcome. And the one thing you need to understand about some of the Pete Dye numbers when you look at them going forward is, Dustin's not showing up to play Heritage. He doesn't play a whole lot of TPC, Louisiana, the Zurich Classic. So he basically has the Players, and that's it. And he doesn't really perform all that well at the Players.
It's different.
It's different. It's a way different course.
And like you said, it's all about the driving accuracy because
I don't even think it's about driving accuracy. Just bomb it.
Well, yeah, but
gain strokes with your driver.
In terms of Dustin and match play in general, it's those guys. If you give away the hole off the tee, that's where you can lose these holes.
Yes. If you do want to do some research on Pete Dye courses, you can do that on fantasynational.com just by going up to the course selection and pressing control and then clicking on all the Pete Dye courses if you want to see who gains the most strokes on those courses. Josh Culp's site, futureoffantasy.com, has a nice list too of best performers and best guys who play better on Dye courses versus a standard course. But do we really need to get into this too much? It's DJ, right?
There's nothing. I wouldn't play with any of the other guys.
Do you like the even money?
To win the group?
Yeah. It's not a bad bet.
I would say his odds are about 52-48 off the top of my head.
Against 3 people, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first year? I think it was at TPC Harding Park, and I bet every underdog in every head-to-head matchup.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy.
It had because I did it that year and it did work. Just because the odds were just all out of flux on everything. The next year, since it moved here, hasn't really worked out. The favorites do really well here. All right.
Also, betting the favorites can be risky because you're kind of like needing to win a loss can kind of be 2 bets.
Yes.
With some of the juice you lay.
I'm not going to play a whole lot of head-to-heads here. Maybe a couple like individual day parlays, but I might parlay together a few groups here. Like if you get DJ at even money, if you like other people to win groups, then they're going to be playing plus money. So that's always
But nice. I'm that loser that has to watch cheering against DJ because I just want him out of the tournament. So I got plans for other people.
So we both have DJ moving on?
Yeah.
All right. Next group, Group 16. We have Matt Kuchar, Ross Fisher, Yuki Ikeda, and Zach Johnson, who, like I said, I mentioned he has come out of his group both years here at a Pete Dye course. To bet this group, what are you looking at here? Kuchar's plus 175, same as Zach Johnson. Fisher is plus 240. Ikeda is 10-1 to win this group. Listen, Kuchar's not playing great right now. Zach Johnson's playing Ross Fisher just can't putt. And Ikeda, who knows with him. Fisher's not a bad play here at 240.
Not bad at all.
Because he tee to green, he's very good.
I think Kuchar's going to do just enough to win this group.
You think so?
I feel like he's playing a bit better. Didn't he? He didn't play last week. Where were we the week before?
Kuchar? He played at Valspar.
Valspar, he kind of showed a bit of, like, he's not doing that T10 push that he's known for, but we're getting close to Master season, and his bad form, Pat, has 100-1 popping at Augusta. And that just might be something I can't resist.
Yeah, he's 66-1 to win this tournament.
That's tough.
Zach Johnson dropped, too. He's down to 60-1.
Well, that's because I think he got a good pod. Zach Johnson got a pod where you can make the case he's the best player in it.
Yes, but then you have to play DJ.
I understand that, but before that, Zach is a 4 seed here. So the pre-draw odds on Zach could have, like, he could have
gotten the DJ group.
DJ, and then the 2 could have been like a super 2. And then he could have been actually the 4th best player in his pod. You can make the case, based on the pod he's in now, that he's at least tied for the best player. You could make the case. I'm not making the case.
I think all 3 of those guys are very close.
We agree, but you get why the Zach line drops.
No, I know. I do get that, but
because he had to. Yeah, I get that if he wins the group, it means DJ, but his chances of winning a group based on the draw went up a lot.
Yes. But just bet him to win the group then.
Sure. I think Kuchar. I think we're in Master season. I think he's going to show some form here. He loves the format. Kuchar, Dustin would be a fun Sweet 16 to watch.
All right, so I'm going to take Ross Fisher just because of I like the value on him.
Okay.
And I think his tee to green game and ball striking game and off the tee, he's the best. Yeah, I mean, he might not be the best, historically the best of these players. Right now, he is the best of these players because Kuchar is not hitting the driver at all.
And I like that. From maybe a betting to bet the pod, I could see that.
Okay, and I would have whoever wins getting bounced by DJ in the next round, so it doesn't really matter who you pick coming out of this group. Next group, Group 9, Tommy Fleetwood, Daniel Berger, Kevin Chappell, and Ian Poulter. This is a tough group, because I really wanted to bet Chappell to win this. I might get on Chappell for the Masters, too.
Well, they're the Pete Dye thing. Like, Pete Dye courses, Kevin Chappell, there's a nice correlation there. I don't mind Chappell, but this is a hard draw for all of these guys. Every single one in this group, Pat, their odds, they're outright to win the tournament, all got worse post-draw. And by worse, I mean higher.
So to win this group, just in general, Fleetwood's 175, Berger's 240, Chappell's 250, Poulter's 5-1. Poulter's getting an awful lot of credit for being and a lot of people are going to look at Poulter, and a lot of people are going to look at Patrick Reed and say they're great at match play.
So that's a perception thing.
Poulter has played well in the match play before, but the only reason that people think that Patrick Reed is good at match play is because they've seen him at the Ryder Cup, which doesn't really have any bearing on this whatsoever.
No, but there's a couple guys, Patrick Reed being one of them, and how he played 18 at Valspar could kick me in the nuts on this comment, but he's got that intestinal fortitude.
He's like 50-50 in match play.
I completely agree.
He doesn't have a winning record.
He's got that winner's mentality, though.
Oh, yes, of course.
But he's also Anderkirk, so, we'll get to that pod there. This is a really exciting group. It's the Fleetwood, Berger, Chappell, Poulter.
Fleetwood
dropped, making the case it's a group of death.
Fleetwood dropped to 40-1.
From about a 33.
From a 33. Like I said, Berger is, where are you at, Daniel? Berger is 70.
That definitely went up. Berger and Chappell were in like the 55 region pre-draw.
Chappell is 66, and Poulter's 110. So this is the group I was talking about. If you want to bet Chappell and Fleetwood, it wouldn't be the craziest thing. Although they theoretically would, the winner, if you picked one of them, would have to play DJ potentially in the quarterfinals.
I'm not at the point of worrying about the
that?
quarterfinals.
Okay, that's fair.
At least when picking my outrights. Let's get as many bodies to the Sweet Six. Let's win as many pods as possible.
So who are you taking out of this group then?
I'm going to take Chappell. Okay. I just think he offers, blindly from a betting number, I think he might offer the best value from that Chappell. It's a hard case. I was about to make a case, but it's so hard. These guys are so...
Listen, if Chappell had... He was another one who I had him as a top 5 bet. I don't think... maybe it would have worked out. Because Tiger came 5th, right? And he came...
No, 2 strokes, though. Tiger
was
still at 10 under.
Yeah, but...
Chappell got to 8.
Chappell got to 8 because he double bogeyed 17.
I know.
So if he had just parred 17, he would have hit the top 5. But tee to green, he was lights out all week. And off the tee, he is awesome.
Sneaky, what, 125, 110 to win at the Masters.
And he's played well at the Masters.
Of all the triple-digit guys that have been thrown around, he's might be the one I'm liking the most.
I did like the Perez 150 number. That number doesn't exist anymore.
I love Perez. We'll talk about Perez when we get to the pod. I can go with Chappell, but Fleetwood would scare
I'm taking
the
Fleetwood.
hell out of me. If you got Fleetwood winning the pod, how can you not bet him to win the tournament?
I agree. But I mean, I would have to bet him to win the pod, too.
Sorry.
I'm not saying I am betting him. I'm picking,
you're right, yes.
I'm picking him to come out of the pod.
These pod winners, I'm not betting. Or at least I'm making no claim to be betting.
No, I'll figure out if we'll talk through it. I mean, I don't mind DJ. I might get a 3-group parlay on the go or something like that. We'll see. So the winner of that pod plays the winner of Group 8, which is the Jason Day pod. So it's Day, Louis, Duffner, and Hahn. Hahn really let me down on the weekend. He got to a real hot start on Thursday and then just treaded water the entire week. Poor guy. Couldn't do it. I think a lot of people are going to go with Jason Day here. He's even money to win this group. I've only made one bet on this tournament, and I bet it before the pods actually came out. I bet Louis. So I'm going to pick Louis to win.
I agree with picking Louis to win. It took me to the match play finals here a couple years ago, losing today. So is there such thing as a golf revenge match? We could see that one for this pod. Interesting. I mean, for a guy like Louis' odds to drop, they're obviously sat. It was a 66. Now I'm seeing 55.
Yeah,
is essentially how I see it.
It's the disrespect for Jason Day.
That's sort of what makes it drop. It seems like nothing in that group. It feels like it should have stayed the same, but they don't respect Day. Is your point?
Yeah, Day only gets respect at majors and the week after he's won a tournament.
It's pretty funny. He's won 2 of the last 4 match plays, including one at this venue.
And he's 14-1.
Yeah.
You can make a very strong case that he's going to win here.
Yeah.
And another guy who plays really well at Pete Dye courses.
Yep. And again, because you mentioned it before, even though I said it's not something I would want to worry about, these are guys that the winner of this group could find their way into Dustin's path.
Any love for Duffner or Hahn here? Or do you think it comes down to Louis versus Day?
I'm a Louis guy. So
I mean, I'm not generally a Louis guy, but I do like how he strikes it off the tee. And I think that he can give himself a lot of advantages here.
That also, and just when it comes to match play, I feel like he always does pretty decent. He's the type of guy...
He's very calm.
Very calm, but you're going to get frustrated because I wouldn't pick on him betting again. He gives himself a lot of chances to win holes. Doesn't hit enough of those 12, 14 footers for the win, but to me, I watched Louis and it's just a day full of 12 to 19 feet putts. And occasionally he gets to stick something to 6. And those are still not guaranteed. But they're much better.
Was it him and Grace who went 5-0 at the President's Cup 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah. They're the lead. Yeah.
They were the only one.
Killer.
That's when Lahiri missed the 3-footer?
That was 2 President's Cups ago.
Yeah, not the last one when they got destroyed.
Yeah, because everyone was they can't lose. And
there is something I did want to throw out to you. So the week after the Anderkers, the tournament after. Now, Ricky...
The player does fantastic.
The player does fantastic. So Bryson withdraws when he's picked by Cuss, comes second.
I noticed
the week after. And Ricky at WGC Mexico didn't play at Valspar, played at API, and was in it until the back
Although
9.
I could defend him in saying I think Hadley had a bad run even after, but that's fine.
Hadley made the cut this week.
When he picked who was his Ander Curse last week at API?
Adam Scott, who had a disastrous, and which is good because he's not playing this week. He's not playing Texas. He'll be playing the Masters. And I have a bet on Adam Scott, so I want this to come through.
Okay.
So watch out for Adam Scott at Augusta. We're seeing all these guys that can't putt learn how to putt all of a sudden. Paul Casey wins. Rory wins. Got to go with the ball strikers. Next pod 5. Hideki Matsuyama is the favorite in this group. He's along with Patrick Cantlay, Cameron Smith, and one of the Japanese players whose name I can't pronounce. Yusaku Miyazato. He's 9-1 to win the group. Hideki's plus 150, Cantlay plus 185, Cameron Smith plus 275. They're saying Cantlay's really close to Matsuyama here in terms of like betting numbers. I don't think they're that close in terms of like where they should be odds-wise.
Probably not, but we're
Hideki,
obviously seeing a big drift in Matsuyama in general. Like we saw it last week at Bay Hill.
he didn't play all that poorly.
Didn't play all that poorly. And even the drift in his Masters number. I'm picking Cantlay here. I'm picking Cantlay mainly because I blindly bet him to win pre-pod at 55-1 because I get Cantlay over 50-1. I think it's got to be an auto thing. That's just my opinion.
This is such a weird tournament for that, though.
I understand, and there's a concern that I have. You know, Cameron Smith's short game could really be an X factor in this group, too.
I'm looking back at Matsuyama from last week. -3 strokes off the tee, -2 approach, gained 6 strokes around the green. So he really saved himself with the short game.
Which isn't very him.
No.
It's usually...
Well, he does have a really good short game.
But he's just in play off the tee and has, putts for birdie.
No, it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of rectify that a little bit this week heading into the Masters. I don't really have any interest in Matsuyama, so I'll go with my guy Cam Smith here.
Yeah.
Love Cam Smith.
Can play a bit of an X factor. It's that short game. He could pop something.
So you're taking Cantlay?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Next group, we have Tyrrell Hatton, Charlie Hoffman, Brennan Steele, and Alexandre Levet from France. If we look at the betting odds for this group, this is the group 12. Hatton plus 150, Charlie plus 250, Steele plus 275, Levet 5-1. Hoffman in Texas always scares me, but with the draw that he's gotten, Hatton should be a DraftKings play. He's going to be a bet for me to win. I just like how this all sets up for him.
I was doing these live in the moment Periscopes last night because the Golf Channel was just atrocious. So
I didn't see. I was on a plane coming back. Was it bad? I saw yours.
Oh, yeah,
I went back and watched them.
Painful. It was just so painful. I was just giving my quick hit reactions to the pods as they were coming out first instinct. And my first instinct was not only did Pat Hatton seem like he drew a great pod for himself, he also drew a potential round of 16 opponent that even if it's Hideki, and I'm on Cantlay to win this group. I actually have Cantlay to win the tournament. That wouldn't bother me. Like, it doesn't bother me. I would have no problem if Cantlay faced Hatton in this, have a sacrificial lamb there from my betting perspective. I think Hatton got, I said it in real time as it got drawn, maybe, in my opinion, got the best pod he could have. That also being said, I think Alexander Levet got a nice pod for himself.
Tim picked him to win this group.
As a 110, 125-1 pick, it's actually pretty sneaky. You're not buying that at all?
I'm not buying it. I just Hatton should just run train on all these guys.
I would think so.
Hoffman's coming off a really good week. He played well at API.
And he does scare you at Texas. Little Narrative Street. And I guess it's Narrative Street across the board. But we haven't brought it up yet. Do we overrate how maybe like a Thomas Bjorn and a Jim Furyk and how like the Ryder Cup captains assess this week and it's important? Like if a guy like Patrick Cantlay goes 3-0 in his pod, obviously he's a lot better than going 0-3 when maybe making a case to be a captain's pick in the fall.
I think it's one of those things that it's
because they're so.
It's no different than picking like a DFS lineup. Like you're on DraftKings and you're looking at it and be like, oh, I got Pat Perez at 84 and Hatton at 85. I prefer Hatton just because I think he's going to play really well. I think he's a great pick. But when it comes down to it, if you're just sold on those two guys, those are the last two guys you can put in your lineup, you start looking for the little things that maybe have no impact whatsoever, but in your mind they do. Like, I don't think that match play record at the WGC Match Play should play into picking a Ryder Cup team. I just don't. I'd rather just take the better player.
No, I completely agree with that. That being said, one of those back-end bubble players for Europe would be Levy.
Only because it's in France.
That's where I was going. So
It's
he's got a lot.
That would be a bigger factor for him than how well he does here. Just like, you're French and you're playing okay. Sure, you're on the team.
If he gets punked in his pod and goes 0-3, I think as an on the fence guy, I think that's done. I think that's done.
As long as he is within reach, and he's like, whether he comes dead last this week and gets blown out 9 up in every single tournament. When Ryder Cup selection comes around, he's playing okay. If he's around the fringes, just because he's French, he will get on the team.
Well, just like we saw Gallagher a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When they were in Scotland, get that nod. Anyways,
I like Hatton.
I do like Hatton. I plan on betting Hatton, but Levy is a interesting long shot, and I'll say it for the first time. Even though they haven't won, every year we seem to get a surprise Euro, I think, sort of storms his way through.
We got Tanihara last year, along with Haas, who made it to the Final Four.
The year before was Rafa, who was on. I'll almost go as far to say he was a bit of an unknown at that point. Still,
not to
us. I actually picked him. He was the reason I won a lot of money in what was the game? There's a site that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, let's not talk about those.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Anyways. They used to play a match play game.
Yeah.
And when DraftKings did it.
And you won a bunch.
Yeah, because of Rafa's big run in that to the Final Four.
You had 3 of the Final Four that year.
Yeah.
You had Day, you had Louis, and you had Rafa. And you had to hedge.
But I had, yeah.
You had to hedge out on...
No, I didn't have Day.
Yeah, Day was the only one you didn't have.
But I had 3 of the other Final Four that when it got to the Final Four, I could bet Day instead of having him win his match and be like such a lesser number.
You could still get him at like plus 150 instead of like minus 300 to win. So Hatton for both of us?
Hatton for both, but in terms of I got another one. I got a better one than Levy for a Euro. Oh, he's not European, but someone that might storm the card.
All right, so next group 13, is the Alexander Noren group.
It's my group of death.
Really?
Yeah.
Noren, Finau, Peters, and Na. So if we look at the betting lines for it, Noren's plus 185, Peters plus 240, Finau plus 275, Kevin Na plus 380. Well, Finau's getting a lot of pub here, and I get it because I already talked about off the tee stuff. Really good. You really want to have that. Yeah. But I'm just trying to find him. Over his past 24 rounds, and I'm getting this from Fantasy National right now, I'm trying to find where Tony Finau is, and he's not popping up for me. Maybe he's at the very top, and I just missed him. Where are you at, Tony? Tony Finau's 24th over the past 24 rounds off the tee. Hatton has been better. So, strange. I have a guy who's a long shot, too.
How long?
I think he's 125 to win.
Okay, that's longer than mine.
Potentially more.
Yeah, this is my group of death. I don't know what you think you think the Fleetwood group's harder?
Yes, I do.
That would be my other one, but this was a tough one. I was not happy to see Finau get this draw. I was not happy to see Noren get this draw. 2 guys I contemplated betting. If you have no action on this event because it's like sketchy to you, but you want to get in on the weekend when they're down to 16, if someone sweeps this pod, I would look to bet them. Also, if someone sweeps that Fleetwood Burger Chapel Poulter pod, I would give them a real serious look. That's something else. I'm staying away from this pod.
You don't think Kevin Na is going to win?
He could. He could. He's been playing really well.
I know.
And I don't know, this format might work for a dud like him who kind of has some blow up moments. I don't know. I want Peters or Na to win this pod because I don't want to hate myself when Noren or Finau do.
So you're going to pick Peters?
Yeah, sure.
I'll pick Noren. I think Noren can come out of this.
It's a tough road.
And, I mean, we just talked about group of death. The group 4 could be the group of death. Spieth, Patrick Reed, who's very Anderkirst, Haotong, who's a real wild card here, who loves either birdieing or triple bogeying holes, so he's a match play like weirdo. And then Charles Schwartzel, former Masters winner. Don't like him here, though, because he's just been shit off the tee. Like, that's going to be really rough treading for him. At least at the Masters, he can get away with it. Play some good irons, putt the lights out. And we do know his putter can get hot. We've seen that in the past, but I'm going to pick Haotong to win.
Tim's the devil.
I know. Tim cursed Reed, can't have it.
So now
And Reed is Reed and Poulter are the two most overvalued match play players.
Okay, fine.
They get an extra bump
That's
because
fine.
of people's perception.
That is fine, but let's just back this train up a bit. Patrick Reed, like, I'll just go bigger picture.
Has he ever made it out of a group stage here? I don't think he has.
Let's just go bigger picture for a moment, because you keep saying like how he's overrated, but I don't think he's overrated in Vegas. Like, he's 30-1. He was 30-1 to win Bay Hill.
There's a lot more players here. This field was stronger.
But the format is like more wild card-y.
It can be, but I think that there is this perception that he's like the world's greatest match play player.
That is false.
Wait, you don't think that people believe that?
Let me just take you something.
Okay.
Guys like you and me love this guy like when he was being a cocky little fuck, winning tournaments and annoying other people.
He had a good moment on the weekend, too.
Oh my God. Like, if he is after all of my heart, he got it. Unless it was a Phil joke. Might have been a bit better, but for him, the Spieth joke works beyond perfectly. He throwing shade at the rules official because he's not Jordan Spieth. Everything blessed. I hope that match means something. I'm going to bet that match. My heart. It's like I would bet the Chargers to win a football game. I'll bet that Reed Spieth match. I will. I don't think this is overvalued from the outright perspective as you think. Like, I feel like his odds...
Should he have lower odds at 30-1 than Fleetwood does at 40-1?
Okay.
Or are those guys just under?
No, but they're kind of like the exact... I think they're kind of like the bit same. So you're right. You're right. I can't lie. My point being is then we all love Patrick Reed, and he was a winner, and then he went to the Ryder Cup, and everyone sort of like fell in love with him, and then those same people like proceeded to call him like a loser who can't win. I'm a forever Patrick kind of guy. Unfortunately, he's Anderkirst this week, but he's winning this pod.
Haotong.
I would enjoy that too.
Just Haotong beats Spieth, knocks him off.
But because Tim's name came up, I got to just go here.
Okay.
It was great what you did. Well, we did the Cuss Golf.
Yeah,
Cuss Corner Golf.
Which you can get Cuss Corner 11. You can go. It's the all golf edition of Cuss Corner.
So that was a lot of fun. And I lost myself. Like, you put the perfect picture with the link.
Of him hunched over. Someone tweeted me a picture of Bowser in Mario Golf, who has the exact same stance.
Like, because I believe Tim gets into one, he could hit a ball like pretty far. Yeah, that's what I mean. You could see he can turn that bet big guy could turn those hips, can turn that belly, can really unload.
Tim would have a better chance of beating me at Austin Country Club in this match play, where off the tee really does matter a whole lot more than the rest of your game.
But regardless of that, the still shot of some of like that picture works perfectly with the takes that he gave on that show.
Yes,
because I'm not saying how far the ball goes. That like over the ball setup is so funny.
He claimed it's because the clubs were too short. He's a very tall guy, which he is.
Okay, maybe, but that picture just got me good, and I thought it worked. It was like better than a cut from the show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Okay.
So we got one half of the bracket done here. Do you want to pick the rest of that bracket all the way through, or do you want to go to the other side?
No, I think those should permeate a little.
Okay, so we'll let those linger for a second.
Yeah.
The next grouping, we got Justin Thomas, Francesco Molinari, Patton Kazire, and Luke List. I'm taking Luke List.
I thought List...
He's playing too well right now. Luke List has been saving me in DraftKings through this Florida swing. I had him at Honda, ended up in the playoff with Justin Thomas. This is where you get some Justin Thomas revenge this week. I talk about tee to green guys. Luke List, the short game is coming around. And listen, we talk about how crappy some of these putters are from time to time. In a one-round sample, Luke List cannot be the worst. and we're not going to see any huge numbers from him. We just might see a lot of missed birdie putts. You talk about Louis putting yourself in good position. He's going to hit all the greens in regulation. He's going to have some birdie putts, and that could be enough to force some. And the one thing is, and this is what Louis does, even when he's not putting well, in match play, if you're constantly getting the ball in the middle of the fairway, hitting every green in regulation, even if you're 20 feet away, your opponent knows that you have a birdie putt to win the hole, and they either try to get in closer to be like, oh, well, that's like a 30% chance of him making the cut. If I get it within 10 feet, I can win this hole. It gets people pressing if you just hit every green in regulation, and it forces people into mistakes. So I think Luke List can win this group. I'm taking Luke List.
I knew you would. I'll go as far to say Luke List, to me, was the best Pod 4 player in the whole draw.
With the way that he's playing right now.
Yeah, I thought he was the guy that if I was a 1, he's the 4 I would not have wanted to see.
Also, I kind of, in the back of my mind, I kind of hope he goes 0-3 and gets smashed in this pod so we can win Valero next week at better odds.
Shell.
Is it Shell?
Yeah.
I have Valero's after. Shell. Win Shell at better odds. I don't even know if he's playing. I assume he's playing to try to get into the Masters.
You would think so. I'm going to go with the Brick Shithouse. Patton Kizzire. Just works, I don't know.
You had no faith in Justin Thomas?
It's not that I have no faith. Kizzire at even 100-1 is something that I'm staring at.
He has not been playing well as of late. After his 2 wins so far this year, although both kind of came when he wasn't doing much. And then boom.
How's he been off the tee? Because he hits it a long way and could maybe put himself in position. But I guess all those guys hit it far other than Francesco.
But Francesco,
he can wedge his way to.
But Francesco's also one of those guys like Kuchar that gains a ton of strokes despite not hitting it a long ways because he hits it where he wants to off the tee every single time.
And he won't beat himself. Well, big driver might.
Well, he will when he starts missing 2-foot putts. Although those might be gimmies, so
yes.
It could be okay.
Oh, you're right. Fino and Francesco got to hit everything. I was wondering how the 4-foot putts might feel differently for Tony this week.
Just being like, if I was, okay, I know you don't do this because it's very poor etiquette, but if I was playing a Luke List, or especially like, imagine if Adam Scott was in this and it's like three feet for a tap and, no, why don't you putt that one out, Adam? We'll see how this goes. I'd be making those losers putt it every time. Shows you how bad I am that I would need to do that, but like, why not? Patrick Reed will make people putt stuff out.
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
My buddies always make me.
Do they?
Because I could Francesco it easily from 2 feet.
So the last 3 events, so Kizzire played last week, missed the cut, minus 1.4 strokes off the tee, and that's only in 2 rounds. At the Honda, or at WGC Mexico, he came 12th. He gained 0.2 off the tee, and at Honda, he lost 2.5.
Okay, but can I say 1 point maybe to those? Honda and the other one are less driver courses.
Last week was a driver course. Arnold Palmer.
Or maybe I was just watching a lot of Stenson.
Yeah, Stenson. Remember, did he hit a driver off the deck, off the tee on that par 5? Did I see that right?
I don't know.
I was watching it with sound off and like kind of barely watching it. I was like, what the hell is he doing? Anyway, so he's just been poor off the tee. The weeks that he's played really well, he's like WGC Mexico, 4.5 with irons. When he won Sony, 6.9 with irons. 4th at the Shriners, 6 with irons. So it's going to be iron play for him either way. So I'll take Luke List. You'll take Kizzire?
Yeah, it's funny. We're both just like, what's JT to win the group, you said?
JT to win the group is, was that group 2? Group 2, even money. Luke List plus 275, Molinari 450, Kizzire 5-1.
DJ at even money is a way better bet.
Then yeah.
Like I'm not saying that Dustin, like if Dustin lost his and JT won, whatever. But looking at the 2 groups and thinking it's the same price, I don't see that. Yeah.
This is the group that I'm glad I didn't bet beforehand.
Yes.
Because I like all 4 of these people to win.
I was going to say, Pat, this is a group where every single one in it had to like their draw to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like there's no, okay, they didn't get like a Miziato.
Who could be good.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Tanihara went on the run last year. But
we love Tony because he has smoked cigs the entire
like, I
time.
think everyone in this group is like, okay, let's go. Like, let's go. This is like 25% to me across the board almost.
So we have Pat Perez is the favorite. This is the 15 group. Let me look up the odds here.
Yeah, 15 because 15 plays 2.
Yeah, okay. So Gary Woodland is actually the betting favorite to win this group at 2-1. Webb Simpson is 220. Pat Perez 225. Siwoo Kim 5-1. I really wanted to bet Siwoo Kim. He's made it out of his group stage before. But I like all the other guys. 2 years ago, he made it out of his group
Last
stage.
year, was it not Haas hit the most miracle chip on him?
Yeah.
From like, it was in a hazard, essentially, greenside kind of?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Poor Siwoo.
Yeah.
Siwoo, the one thing that he has actually been doing well, he hits his driver really well. The rest of his game's not really around.
No, he's become a bit of a cut maker last couple weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah. Also, Siwoo Kim, big win at a Pete Dye course, if I recall this
Heard about that
properly.
one.
Heard about that one?
Yeah.
Won the Players' Championship. I think there's something to be said about Pete Dye courses, and like when you think about like Pete Dye type of players, you want people with creativity in their shots. There's a reason that Phil makes it out of the group stage here every year. There's a reason Bubba does as well. Like guys that can shape the ball really well or envision the shots. Because at Pete Dye courses, there's so many like blind shots or like there's stuff on the course to like fuck with your mind. They're like, oh, there's a bunker here, so I need to like play it to the left, but you don't really need to do that. It's just a trick.
Are
There's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Are there a lot of bunkers here?
I don't know if there's a lot of bunkers here, but there's weirdly placed bunkers at Pete Dye courses to like give you a false either sense of security or thinking you can't attack that pin because there's a bunker there. But like the Pete Dyes are just mind fucks, and the guys that can really move the ball around left to right or have some guts to go after pins tend to play really well. That and accuracy, because there's usually trouble off the edge.
Pat Perez came on. A lot of last night's show was an abomination.
Okay.
How they did it. It would literally be like 20 minutes of talking, and they do like one pod and then commercial. And then by the end, they were doing like pods quickly. Because
They're running out of
yeah.
time.
But the moment of moments was the Pat Perez, like, they had a handful of one-on-one interviews. Fleetwood, find out he has long hair because his head is awkwardly shaped.
I think it was Baroff put it out that he just looks like a crackhead. It was not a flattering look for poor Tommy. And he looked like Jesus from Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah. Nonetheless, there was a Rahm interview. I think a JT one. Yada, yada, yada. But Perez, he came on stage, man, cocktail in hand. Like, he is just a legend. He is a legend. Yeah.
He has a perfect mentality for match play, too, I feel. He's just going to go out and try to make some birdies.
Yeah, and the way he's talking with the baby coming, oh, man, you just think it. And I can close my eyes and see him getting that green cardigan you're wearing.
Really?
If I really try
If you
hard.
really squint?
Ugh. He doesn't know, man. Just him
It would be
winning the
it'd be
Masters.
really funny if he won. I'd be pumped. I'd be rich.
I already think he's an American treasure. So if he wins the Masters, he essentially becomes an American hero.
Are you picking him to win this? Because I really wanted to go with Woodland, but I think I'm going to go with Webb Simpson.
I'm going to go Perez. Woodland, Simpson's doing everything right.
Yeah. And I feel like people are kind of off him now. He had his little run. He didn't win. But he's still playing well.
And like a stroke play event, he's just not hitting enough of those 12-footers, but in a match play...
No, he's hitting a lot of those 12-footers.
No, more than ever.
Yes.
But he's not hitting enough to win a stroke play event, is kind of my point. Like, he's putting exponentially better than he has in the past.
I think he might be the #1 putter right now.
Shut up.
Which is crazy.
I know he's putting better. You're going to tell me he's #1?
I can look.
That's as crazy as Spieth being like 114, which is also true, right?
Hey, it's the same as Paul Casey breaking a record for putts in a round. Let's see. Strokes gained putting the last 50 rounds. Webb Simpson, #1.
Have mercy.
Webb. Oh, maybe I shouldn't take him. He's been really poor off the tee. I'm going to change my pick. Where's Woodland at? Strokes gained off the tee. Where are you at, Gary Woodland?
He's probably been very good at that.
He's 19th off the tee. Siwoo's up there. Siwoo's top 20 off the tee. Maybe it is Pat Perez I should be going with. Screw it. I'll stick with Webb. Hopefully the hot putter continues. Next group. The Paul Casey group. Someone who's experienced a lot of match play success in the past.
This is the worst group.
Fitzpatrick, Casey, Stanley, and Henley.
Worst group.
You think so?
What group is worse?
I guess so.
Sorry, it's the worst group. The one in the two groups.
The Phil group is not great.
Yeah, but there's a star in that group. This is a group, I don't know. This feels kind of...
Casey is the favorite at +120. Fitzpatrick's 275. Stanley is 4-1. Henley is 4-1. I like Kyle Stanley here.
I will say this. I will say this. Under the assumption, Pat,
Yes.
I'm going to take this group. I don't know how we can cordon this off, but these group of 4 pods that include, you know what? Let's wait till we do the next group.
Okay.
It'll just make easier sense.
You can make a pick from this one. I'm picking Kyle Stanley.
Yeah, I know. I just want to make a bit of a point. Yeah, I got Stanley.
Fitzpatrick
Sure.
75-1. Stanley, where is Stanley? I feel like he's way down the list here. Maybe he's up.
100.
100?
Yeah.
What's his DraftKings price?
68.
That could be a nice guy to, unless Casey's hot putter continues.
Yeah. And this is where I got to ride off this point as we get into the next.
Okay, so the next group, Group 7, is the Sergio group. And that has Sergio, Xander, Fratelli, and Sharma.
I love this group.
This is just a fun group.
Yeah. I love this group. I might bet 2 guys in this group, and I'll say so in a moment.
Where's Sergio's odds?
25-28.
Sergio, 8,900, 25-1. He's at the bottom of this, where it could be. Right now, I have List, Webb, Stanley. If I pick Sergio, it's a real easy path.
Do you remember a moment ago where I'm like, we'll wait for this group to finish? That was the point I wanted to make. Any one of these, you can take any of your group winners here, at least how we've projected it, because we've kicked Justin out. Let's acknowledge that.
I feel like we really underrate how good Justin Thomas is. We just don't like him.
Because he's winning tournaments at a 30% clip of enters?
Do you know what it is? He's just real boring.
He's Spieth's friend.
Yeah, there's nothing fun about him.
Yeah. We try to bring cold hard facts, but sometimes we'll skew with our just feelings.
He's the number 2 seed in this tournament for a reason.
If you need us to tell you he's good, then you're watching the wrong show. He's good. That was the point I was making, Pat. Was this quadrant of 4 groups, upon us kicking JT out, just seems a open road to the Final Four, and that's why I said this pod might have 2 guys with my money.
So,
one of them already has my money, because I played for Telly long shot before the draw, University of Texas, Austin guy. I really thought he was gonna surprise in a big boy something. He's, to me, this year's Tanihara, Rafa, climbing the show. That being said, I also really like Serge.
Serge is playing so well. And if we go with the narrative that all these elite tee to green guys all of a sudden can flip the putter, Sergio's next.
Here's one thing with Serge. We just got to keep it in mind. And I'll go back.
Baby swag?
The baby was born, Pat. Sergio pretty much told Sergio Garcia to hold his beer. Sergio Garcia, at his wedding, wearing his green jacket, was interrupted by Sergio, who just had a baby, who said, "Hold my beer, Sergio, because I'm going to go and up my green jacket and name my baby Azalea." Legend. Why I say he's in my opinion, in the pantheon of perception of golf, great, he's right there with Phil. And I know they don't have the majors to back it, to be beside each other, but in the annals of history, he's there for me. Here's the other thing with Serge. Angela, his wife, Austin girl. Their American home, Austin. This comes 2 edges. He likes to know the course. We assume he knows the course, although, how much is he? When he's in Austin on his downtime, is he playing? That's not the point I want to make here. The baby came last week. All the family must be in. This is also a great time. He gets to get out of the house. I know everything is pro Sergio and his golf game. I don't think his wife is interrupting any of his practices. I'm sure they have staff for the baby and family. But, that's just, I don't know, is that good, bad? Do you read into that at all?
I don't know how it works.
Exactly.
I don't know how it plays out. So I'm not going to
include
it in my picking in or out either way.
My close on that is don't let it. Because Bubba going on Ellen in the NBA All-Star Game made it play a role.
Yeah, Day withdrawing with a back
from
injury.
A Pro-Am because his back hurt played a role. Don't let it play a role. I might actually have money on Sergio and Fratelli. Well, I already have money on Fratelli.
Do you know who
90 or 100-1. Sergio, I think, has to be bet.
Do you know who I'm looking at in his numbers right now?
Who?
Xander.
That's the other guy. He could really spoil that party.
So can Sharma. Sharma's not afraid to have some low rounds in his bag. We've seen it. He can upset any single one of those guys on any given day. I'm going to pick Xander.
So do I do Xander and Fratelli and just pray Sergio doesn't win?
Yeah, you could, or just wait till one of those guys gets out of the group.
No, because based on how that quadrant looks.
But that's how we have it projected. If Justin Thomas wins, you're still getting all the good numbers.
No, because even whoever wins that group, look at their next matchup.
Kyle Stanley. But if it's Paul Casey's 20-1 to win this tournament.
Off a win.
If Paul Casey wins that group, and he has 2 runner-up in match play before. So
he's lost 2 match play finals?
Yeah.
That was before I was alive.
I'm going to take Xander. Just go with it.
I'm taking Fratelli, the Longhorn.
Okay, now comes the interesting part of the quadrant of the bracket, because this is the 6th group, the Rory group, coming off the win. So, of course, Rory is 7-1 to win this tournament now. After multiple people telling me over the course of the last month or so, Rory's washed up, Rory's no good anymore, he sucks. People on the internet have some strong takes.
I always say this, and I say it, and I take heat for it. I don't even think I would take Rory. This is why I would always take Rory and Dustin over Spieth, because their A game to me dwarfs Spieth's A game.
And the big thing with Spieth,
that's just my no.
The problem is, but the big thing with Spieth for until now, over the past 2.5 years, he was just the most consistent guy on tour.
Well, that's the problem. I joke with Rory that he to me is like the Pittsburgh Steelers. When it's all clicking and all their fantasy guys are scoring touchdowns and he's shooting a 63, it's possible. But you see the Steelers play the Browns and the Colts, and they play down to those teams' level, and you're like, the Steelers, the bad, also can shoot an 80. For an elite player, Rory has a lower floor than all those guys.
Agreed, and we saw.
I don't see them flirt with 80 like he does.
But we saw the two different sides of Rory. We saw over the past month. He was missing cuts. Then we see what he does on Sunday. He stuck every approach to 10 feet.
And
every single one.
He didn't even get going to the 5th hole. Maybe?
No, he was missing birdie putts.
He could have had 3 before he got to his first birdie.
It reminded me of when he won Quail Hollow, I want to say 2 years ago, when Patrick Rogers was in second, whatever it was. And just everything. 4 feet. Didn't matter where he's from. 200 away, 4 feet. 100 away, 4 feet.
I got that feeling because Saturday.
Then he chipped in. It was ooh.
On 18 Saturday, from the fairway, put it to 20 inches for birdie.
And but that's how we see it with him. Either he's way off with his irons, or he's by far the best player in the field with his irons.
And also, I'll say this about Rory. It's easy to say after the fact, but it's a proven thing with him. He likes fast greens. And places like Bay Hill play into that, and I know now the Masters Grand Slam hype will begin.
I bet Rory for the U.S. Open. He was my pick before the year started, because I'm still picking Spieth at the Masters. But I don't think he's going to win Augusta. I think he'll make a run, though. I see you have a big X there. Does that mean you're now picking X to go to the semifinals?
No, it's just a cross out of something else.
Okay, so this group, Rory, Herman, Vegas, and Uline. How the hell does Uline have all these fucking official world golf ranking points? When was the last time he came inside the top 25 to any tournament?
It's a great question.
He won a web.com event. Apparently that gave him 5,000 points. Rory, minus 138 to win this group.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Minus 138. Herman plus 275, Vegas 6-1, Uline 7-1. Don't like going against Rory here, but I look at there's only so many players that have gotten out of the group stages over the years. Bubba, Phil, I think this course might be set up for left-handed players. So I'm going to take Herman. And when we talk about the best putters in this group, Herman is the only good putter in this group.
Herman.
You're taking Herman too? I sold you on Herman?
I think Rory he might play great, but I think he might have some real fish to fry.
What do you mean?
I could see, if he rides his win into more momentum, that wouldn't shock me. Or if it's all Masters mental, wouldn't shock me either.
Okay. My pick.
I don't know, that's a tough one to pick against. That's more like me hoping he gets ejected, because I got some action at the bottom.
Well, my pick to win is in this next group, Group 11. It's Mark Leishman, Brendan Grace, Bubba Watson, and Julian Surrey, who was the late ad.
Screw your pick.
Why?
I'll tell you once you make it.
Bubba Watson's going to win the match play, so I'm going to take Bubba Watson to win. He is plus 210 to win this group. He is the third favorite behind Leishman and Grace. I'll bet that. Maybe parlay it with that Dustin even money. I'll be well on my way to some Mondays this week. He's 45 to 1. He is one of my favorite DraftKings plays as well. He comes in at, where's little Bubs here? Bubba, $8,200. Lock him in.
Good vibes, too. He wasn't at the stupid shit last night. He was still at home watching his kid play t-ball, so he's a man. Family man.
Made it out of this group last year when he was playing like garbage. We always talk about Bubba Tracks. He hasn't won here, but he has won at the Pete Dye Travelers Championship. So I think this sets up really well for him. And when I talk about off the tee stuff, his off the tee game is back. His ball striking is back.
His 3-putt avoidance back.
And he's going to score on these long par fives.
Good point. I was kind of being silly when I said screw Bubba. I just have those memories when we were in Dove Mountain, where he's literally like, he's playing J.B. Holmes, and he's literally like, you see guys like, oh, that my opponent's drive is like wide. Bubba, like, he's like the guy on first base whose teammates up to bat who just hits the game-winning jack or whatever. He's like, he's going like eccentrically, and then they're looking for Holmes's ball kinda, and I've never seen, like, Bubba is like on the clock.
Yeah, he's playing to win.
Okay, so you know what? To that, it's a great point. He will give No,
he's not giving you an inch.
He will not.
He's another one who might make you putt the 2-footer.
Yeah.
Like if somehow he ends up, let's say the worst case, like Bubba gets to the semis here, and like Paul Casey gets to the other side of it. It's like, I know you putted well, Paul, but you're gonna putt out that 6-incher.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess to your point, what I just said kind of makes him a more advantageous pick.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a very he doesn't.
Bubba's, like I said, he's 8,200 on DraftKings. He's 45 to 1, and I don't really care about this tournament, so I'm picking Bubba. He's gonna be my one and done pick too.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I'm just gonna say Grace, but you know what? You might have talked me into bet. I might have talked myself through your thing into betting Bubba, but we'll see.
And my lefty correlation is going to continue to play here.
Oh, yeah.
Next grouping, the Phil group. Phil, Rafa, S.
Kodihara.
And then Charles Howell III. I'm really bad at these Japanese pronunciations.
This one is easy.
Phil? Of course.
Rafa.
I know you love Rafa here. And listen, he's plus one. Phil's plus 130. Rafa is plus 210. Charles Howell is plus 280. And Cody Hara is 9 to 1.
I know you're picking. You got to go lefty, right?
I'm going with the lefty stack here. I'm going with Phil.
You got this whole board, this whole thing.
They all got grouped together somehow.
Is there a lefty in that bottom one? No.
No, like they're the only 3 lefties in the tournament.
That's pretty funny. Okay.
And you're just taking Rafa?
Yeah, there's nothing really to. I mean, sure, Phil's
won his group each of the past 2 years. Phil plays a lot of skins on a week-to-week basis, so he has a lot of match play prep.
That is very true. And that brings me to the side pot of when Phil wins this and he's facing John Rahm, what's the side pot on that Sweet 16 Phil Rahm matchup?
I don't know. Maybe Phil has some like dirt on him. He'll get him to throw the match or something.
That's a good point. I'm going with Rafa.
You're going with Rafa? Okay.
Clean. Do you want to know something? It was actually a pretty funny moment. I was doing those live scopes last night, and the order they were doing, picking which pods they were drawing, were pretty random. And I saw it was Phil's pod, so I was like, oh, I want Rafa. I want Rafa in this pod. And then, just as before they actually drew Rafa's name, which was heartbreaking, but the number 17 is a good sign for me. That's his seed. I decided I didn't want Rafa because I don't want Rafa to have to play John Rahm in the second round.
So the final group, Group 3, Rahm, Appy Barnrat, Shez Reavie, and Keegan Bradley.
I'm just writing quickly. I'm not saying he can't get upset, but...
Appy Barnrat just won a match play.
They had golf carts. They did have golf carts. And you know what? That Appy Barnrat win is the only win I've had in recent memory. That's Super 6. But that thing, they had golf carts. Another thing I guess we should talk about, it's a lot of golf. Young guys, I don't know.
I mean, Jason Day won. That's probably because he's playing
But that reminds me.
13 hours. Oh, yeah.
When Day won, he was playing Graham McDowell on the Wednesday. He was up like 4 with 4 to play or something, and his bat gave out. And if he didn't, he almost didn't I think he even got to withdraw a match and still advance. How the pod worked out, he didn't have to play his third round. If that match was like all squared, or Graham could have gotten it to 18 or something, they would have had to just go, and then he wins the tournament. He's crazy.
Don't don't underlook the fact either that someone's gonna have to play with Jason Day, and the round's gonna take like 10 hours. Like, I'm glad Bubba's not in the Jason Day group. You'd be putting him on the clock pretty quickly. He has to be frustrating to play with. He has to be.
Yeah.
I think he was getting like Tiger's head for the first 2 days. Just be like, come on, man. Like, let's go. So you're picking Rahm to come out of the bottom one?
Easy.
I was thinking about giving Keegan Bradley a look. Keegan's playing sneaky good right now.
I don't give a shit.
Shockingly, cannot putt.
What's a Rahm to win the group?
Rahm to win the group is plus 110. I think Rahm has an easy... Listen, I'm going to pick John Rahm as well. But
I'm betting John Rahm.
I think that John Rahm has an easier time to win this group than Rory does his group, and Rory's minus 135.
I'm betting John Rahm to win the tournament, 15-1.
Okay. All right, so let's go over. Let's get to our final four. So I have DJ versus Fisher. I'll take DJ. What's your top matchup?
I got DJ Kuchar. It's easy to move it on.
All right, Fleetwood versus Louis. I'll take Louis.
Louis versus Chappell. I'll take Louis.
And so I have DJ versus Louis for a spot in the final four. I already bet Louis. I'll take Louis.
Yeah, see, this is more my bets are now going to ride. So we're going to go with Louis into the final four.
All right, so the bottom part of that draw to see who faces Louis in the final four, we have Cameron Smith versus Ty Atten. I'll take Tyrrell Atten.
Patrick Cantlay beats Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay. I have Alex Noren versus Hao Tong. I'll take Noren.
I have Thomas Peters versus Patrick Reed. I'll take Patrick Reed.
Tyrrell Atten versus Alex Noren. I'll have Hatton going to the final four to face Louis.
Cantlay versus Reed. I'll take Cantlay.
Okay. The top end.
Oh. See, if it was Hatton, I would have had Hatton. And shit. I might be giving Cantlay too much love there, but you know what? No, it's got to be Reed. Reed versus Louis.
I thought you were picking Cantlay to win.
I am. You're gonna. Don't worry, my picks are all gonna make sense. But that quadrant is I'm in on.
Okay. List versus Webb. For me, I'll take Luke List. I think if he gets inside the top 8 here, he qualifies for the Masters too. I think he's one of those guys.
I'm going back.
You're going back to Cantlay?
Yeah, it's Cantlay.
So I'll take a list. I have Stanley versus Scheifele. I'll take Scheifele. So I have List versus X.
Oh, let me get there.
Let's go Luke List into the semifinals. Why not?
Oh, this is a fun semi for me.
So what do you have here?
I end up having a Kazire Fratelli match.
Okay.
And I'm giving it to Fratelli.
So you have Fratelli in the final four?
Yes.
All right, so from the bottom end...
This is the bracket you spoke about for DraftKings. Like, you got to hit this... Well, see, we do it different because we have guys leaving.
Yeah, we have Justin Thomas getting beat.
It's
we
kind
have
of
Casey
unfair.
getting beat and Sergio
so
getting beat.
all of a sudden, there's a path.
Yeah, it's wide open.
Yeah, for everybody.
Harman versus Bubba. I'll take Bubba. Phil versus Rahm. I'll take Phil. And I'll have Bubba going to the semifinals to take on my main man, Luke List.
Okay, so I've got Harman versus Bubba. I'll give Bubba. I've got RCB versus Ram. I'll take Ram. Although that would be fun if it's Ram Phil. That'd be fun.
Or you have the Spanish battle, RCB versus Rahm.
That's
as well.
also pretty exciting, and there's no doubt it's going to be Rahm versus Fratelli, and it's easy to say Rahm beats Fratelli. Oh, I suck.
I'll take Hatton versus Louis, and I'll take Bubba over Hatton to win it all.
And I've got Rahm over Cantlay.
And I'll take...
But I would love for it to be Hatton Rahm.
And I'll take List over Louis, because Louis won't give a shit about the third place game. Always take the other guy, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if that actually pans out, but just...
No, I think like 2 years ago, Rafa beat Louis in the third place game.
Did Tani Hara come third last year? Did he beat... I guess him versus Haas, it was like, who cares? They were both trying.
I don't know.
But if it's a really big name and they get into like the third place game against like some underdog, probably take the underdog.
Okay, Rahm 15.
Okay, so picks.
I gotta just, you talk, I need 1 moment.
We're gonna go to the picks. So my bets. I'm already in on Louis. I have Louis at 66. He is down to 55 right now. I'm gonna take Hatton. I'm going to take Bubba. There was one other guy I was going to take. Or was that everyone?
No, you had someone else.
I think that was it for actual like bets.
No, come on.
You mean, come on. I don't want to play a lot of this.
Oh, I love it.
Hatton's 35. I'm going to search for a better number. Maybe Bodog has him at a better number.
Doesn't 35.
35 is the number. Okay, 35 it is. Bubba 45.
Will Hill is a 33. So
Even better. So yeah, those are going to be my 3 bets. Louis, Hatton, and Bubba. And I have Louis with the each way. So to get to the I might each way all of these guys. Because that's actually not a bad bet here. The each way is to get to the semifinals for 1/4 the odds. I don't mind that at all. Let's see. To win outright. Yeah, Hatton hasn't dropped at all. Bummer. So who are you going with?
Oh, yeah, the card's full. Rahm, Hatton, Cantley. Oh, I've wrote Hatton twice. Retard.
Keep saying the names.
Rahm, Hatton, Cantley, Louis, Rafa, Fratelli. And I don't give a shit that he's Anderkurst, bonus star, Patrick Reed.
It's a waste of money.
I heard don't do it from the back. No. The fact that he shaded Spieth to the rules official, then got potted with Spieth, it's all happening. That's just like my bonus psychopath pick, though.
Hatton? Trying to find it here. Where is
So
it?
I'll say it again clean. Rahm, Hatton, Cantley, Louis, Rafa, Fratelli. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. And then Reed because I'm a mental midget.
And let me try to find the groups here. I'm going to play a 4 group to win parlay. I'm going to have John Rahm plus 110.
Yeah.
Bubba Watson plus 210. Dustin Johnson, even money. And Hatton plus 150 pays 33.5 to 1. I like it. 2 favorites, 2 kind of, I mean, Hatton is the favorite in his group, but I like how match play sets up for Hatton.
Yeah, he's one of those bulldogs that we speak of.
He's going to make
the new McDowell.
He's going to make those 14-footers.
Yeah.
And then he'll have like a 3-hole meltdown at some point where he's like yelling at himself and he'll freak out the guy that he's playing with. Very excited for Bubba to win this though. 1 and done picks of the week.
You said you were going with Bubba.
I'm going with Bubba. Who did we have last week? I had Rickster, who was in the high money until he tanked it coming down the stretch. T14.
I'll go with Hatton.
You're going to go with, you have not used Hatton yet?
No.
All right, so Geoff Fienberg, Bubba Watson for me.
I think I used him last year. I don't think he made it out of the pod.
Whatever.
Because he was awesome at Bay Hill last year, wasn't he?
I will say, I just really wish Fleetwood wasn't in that, like...
Oh, damn it. I forgot to do something.
What?
No, it's too late.
It's too late?
Well, it's better just in the middle. What do you think about Pouncy?
I want to talk about the Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
And we'll talk about that at the end. So the Puntacana Resort Club Championship.
Let me load it up.
Grillo is 9 to 1.
I'm going to load it up here.
Furyk is 16. Scott Piercy is 18. Patrick Rogers, Graham McDowell, 20. Sabatini, Wood. Chris Wood is... Why the hell is Chris Wood playing in this? Isn't that weird? It was like last year at the Puerto Rico Open. All of a sudden, Peter Uline's in the field. It's like, well, what are you doing here? I have no idea what this course entails. All I knew is that I really wanted to bet John Huh, and he's not playing.
This is... The Puerto Rico Open got moved and stuff because of the hurricanes.
Yeah.
So this is like...
No, I understand that.
So, but I feel like, is this an actual real event or it's like a charity gimmick event?
No, this is a real event. I made 1 bet for this tournament.
Graham McDowell?
I bet Kelly Craft at 40 to 1.
What about Alex Cheka? Or this is where you bet your boy like Seamus Power. I don't know, man. I'm talking to a wall.
Do you have any feel for any of these guys? Any bombs you want to take here? I don't even know how this course plays.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
I don't know.
John Daly?
Zanotti? Mike Weir is in the field. I don't know if they have Uber in Dominican Republic, but he can make a killing on this.
Tony Romo is big odds.
What are Romo's odds? Romo's 1,500 to 1.
Yeah.
Wonder if he has the same odds as Mike Weir.
We put $3 on Bowditch for the community.
Yeah, Bowditch. Let's take Bowditch. What's Bowditch at?
500 to 1.
500 to 1. So I'll do Kraft and I'll do Bowditch. 500 to 1 and 40 to 1. I really wanted to bet Patrick Rogers. I just don't want to back him at 20 to 1. He has been playing really well, though. Just, who are the hot guys from down here? No one. Did David Hearn lose his tour card? Is that why he hasn't been playing, or has he been hurt or
He's
something?
been hurt. I haven't seen him. What about Poston?
I feel like he hasn't been good in a year. You know Smiley Kaufman is 77 over?
Mahan, 100 to 1?
No, come on. Trevor Immelman, he's getting some Masters prep in.
Mahan was once in a match play final versus Rory.
Mahan was once a really good player. He once won me that laptop. Matt Jones.
Patrick Rogers.
This is just thrilling fucking stuff here. Derek Fathauer. Like, Zanotti is one of the better players. I don't know how he's been playing, the Paraguayan. When I was watching Golf Channel Latino.
Isn't Zanotti South African?
No, he's from Paraguay. Garrigus?
Tringali? Remember when he used to be Ricky Fowler's roommate?
I don't remember that. So yeah, my two bets for Puntacana, Kelly Kraft 40 to 1, Bowditch 500 to 1. And we might have to, is this in the one and done? It might be. So we have to make one and done picks for this too. It's not. It's not? Okay, we don't need to make one and done picks
I would
for this.
take, I used Grillo last week. That'd be really funny.
You used Grillo last week?
Not versus you.
Oh, just
the actual
you're trying to
pool.
come back a little bit?
I don't know, man. I suck at I suck at everything.
So do I. Really bad. All right, let's talk about this Pouncy stuff. I like it.
Oh, Chargers radio?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna be good.
Hit me up here.
The math guys say our offensive line has the potential of former just big weakness for the Chargers because we get Pouncy back, Pat. And what people do not know is Forrest Lamp, our second-round pick. We drafted pretty high last year, so that would have been a high second-round pick. Mayock considered him the best lineman in the draft. Tore his ACL in camp. So we get him back. So that's two players right there. If you think Mike Williams can be a normal, serviceable player next year.
I forgot about him.
So we already get our first and second round picks back from next year. I've already decided. There was a part of me when the season ended, maybe we should get involved at 17 if one of these quarterbacks slips and develop somebody. No. Everything. Every chip. Middle of the table. We got to go. It's a 2-year contract for Pouncy. Phillips got 18 months left? 2 years?
2 years.
That's what I mean. So it's all
Sorry,
in.
I'm betting Stephen Bowditch while you're talking.
That's okay. But here's the other part of it. Because we have a great run blocking center, maybe we won't be the second worst team in the league on first down next year behind the Cleveland Browns.
Helps Melvin Gordon's fantasy stuff.
Oh,
too.
doesn't it?
Unless I'm still concerned. We did our League of Leagues draft this week. I mean, I didn't do it. I was away. Meany did it for us. Well, I was trying to test with him from the beach. But we took Melvin Gordon in the third round, I think. I just worry about Austin Eckler.
Oh, you should.
I think that he's just going to be more involved. Although he's
definitely will be more involved.
He's coming off the broken hand, though. Not that that's that big of a concern. It's just he's not. I don't think he's going to steal goal line touches, which is really all I'm concerned about.
No, he will not steal goal line touches. Although that being said, if the Chargers needed a third and half a yard, I trust Eckler more than Gordon to get that half a yard.
So do I.
But here's the other thing. If you take out Melvin Gordon's rookie year, which you might say is fair or unfair, he's been pretty fantastic. And I've kind of down on him, right? I even joke, I don't know if he's good or just volume good. I'm still stuck in that range. But then when you take out his rookie year, he seems to be he's pretty good. And there are some, math guys that think he could be very good now, but we'll see.
Ooh, Bubba Watson's 50 to 1 on Bodog. I'm excited for you that the Chargers are good.
I think they're going to be really good.
The Chiefs seem like they got a lot worse on defense, by the way.
Exponentially worse. The rookie quarterback scares the hell out of me. I think the Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry went to Cleveland, not Kansas City.
Sorry.
Sammy Watkins.
I actually like Jarvis Landry. That's why I was well, I can't laugh at Jarvis Landry. The Sammy Watkins. 4 teams in a month? Or a year? No, 3 teams in a calendar year? That scare me. The Raiders just signed a bunch of old people.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to be trash, by the way. Gruden is... They're going to draft a running back in the touch side, the top 15, too, for no reason.
No, I'm pretty hyped. It's Masters season and the summer, but if I could be Dorothy and click my heels together and it be the fall, Pat, I would. I want that pure adrenaline. Let's just get a kicker who isn't from the University of Hamas.
How about they're going to sign Seabass, aren't they?
No, he didn't make it. We actually signed Caleb Sturgis.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Although he'll just get the jinx, and it's just like Pouncy.
Okay.
The one bad thing about Pouncy is, the Chargers O-linemen have a history of just getting hurt right
Last year
away.
they weren't.
And Pouncy has a history of just being hurt.
Last year he's got a hip issue. Yeah, I can't deny that.
All right, that'll do it. Let's hit a winner this week.
Yeah,
Potentially Stephen Bowditch.
I want to say something.
Listen, if Stephen Bowditch wins at 500 to 1, we're good for 2 years.
Yeah. I need to clarify something because people should probably wait before I tweet because the only people I've actually bet, even though I said a lot of names, are Rom, Hatton, Cantley, and Louis and Fratelli. So I haven't bet Rafa and Reed yet, but I think I should.
I'm telling you, man, Anderkurst, that's his final, by the way. Reed over Rafa. Also, when he did his first round of picks, his final...
Hold on, his final is Reed...
Over Rafa. But when he first did his first round of picks,
my God.
his final wasn't possible. The people he had playing each other.
Oh, he wasn't looking at a bracket. He just
No, he does. He just still picked two guys that couldn't possibly play each other in the finals.
From the same
side of the bracket.
Also, I don't think we said, he said Spieth is free money. He said Jordan...
He said Patrick Reed is free money to win his pool.
No, he said Jordan... Patrick Reed is a de facto buy.
That is what he said. That is true. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I don't know if I can do it. But if he wins the pod, then what are his odds?
I don't know. The same? He's 30 to 1 right now. If he wins
Couldn't be 30 to 1 if he wins the pod.
Reed,
if he wins the pod and has to play like
Reed?
the best player in the next group.
Well, according to us, that's going to be a real easy path for Ty Hatton to get there. So, Reed could end up playing Noren. I would say he's 20 to 1, maybe 15. Okay. And they might get cut in half. You can jump on that if he wins the pod. Yeah. Then he'll get super cursed. All right, that'll do it. The Pat Mayo Experience, Geoff Fienberg. Check him out on Twitter at GFienberg17. You can find my DraftKings cheat sheet up on DKPlaybook.com. My bets up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme. And for more golf content, all the stats you can have, all the lineup generators you could ever want, tournament simulations, go to fantasynational.com right now. Become a member. It has both DraftKings pricing for the match play and the betting odds. Plus, it has the Puntacana, and you can really dig in. I didn't dig in, but you can go dig in if you want. All the information is up there right now, so enjoy it. We got Shell next week. Then we got the Masters. I got a lot of big stuff planned for that, so stay tuned. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.